Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's right, we are live on scene at the 2025 NFL Draft. Me, myself, the Coastal Sports Network, SR1029thegame.com. We're here bringing you all of the action live from Draft Day 2025. NFL Draft Experience opening up behind us. We're giving everyone their privacy, so we're nestled here in a beautiful corner overlooking Lambeau Field. The semi-frozen tundra, it's in the 50s out here today in Green Bay, and according to everyone, that's sort of just the way it goes weather-wise in Green Bay. 1 minute it's sunny, next minute it's overcast, you get a little sprinkle, a little bit of rain, a little bit of this and all that, but great vibe here. People are amazing. NFL always puts on a phenomenal event. As mentioned, Draft Experience, everything you came into contact with, everything that you saw potentially, if you were in New Orleans, if you were in Phoenix, if you were in Vegas, coming up next year, SoFi out there in Santa Clara, California. Run the 40-yard dash, throw the ball around. There's cornhole, there's ping pong, there's giant Connect Four games going on. Food is plentiful, beer is plentiful. This is the land of America's breweries and brews. The Brew Crew, great little company. I guess established 1986. Great year, by the way. All over the place out here. Hinterland Brewery, actually, that's where we're broadcasting live from today, just outside of Lambeau Field. Excellent staff, great food, tons of beers on draft. They're definitely going to have an awesome experience here for the fans coming in. Again, kicks off here in a couple minutes. Soon we'll be flooded. We'll be overtaken by the 250,000, 300,000 people that they are expecting to get in for this draft experience. They've constructed an entire draft theater just to the northwest side of Lambeau Field, surrounded, however, by every single NFL fan's dream. Stores aplenty, merch aplenty, activities that you can just dive head into. Phenomenal show, great show. You can hear in the background they are beginning to semi-rehearse a little bit of what's going on. That's why we're sort of away from the action, so we don't, go against anybody here. We're not actually inside of the entire draft theater, which we would never do. So we're going to do this here from a distance. We're going to have our show today. Hopefully, you have a guest coming on here in a couple of minutes just to go ahead and talk over some of the draft brouhaha. But obviously, a little more sports-centric show the next couple of days. Obviously, we're going to recount, recall, replay. We're going to go through every little option that you could possibly think of about your team. And first and foremost, we're going to touch back what we talked about on Tuesday. Like, you're drafting not only a player for their skill set, right? And Jay Glazer came out with something earlier today, and we've been talking about it on this network for a long time. And if you follow this program, if you follow programs across Coastal Sports Network, you follow the Upper Bowl, one of the concurrent themes that we always run through is about like the character of the player, the culture, and do they really enjoy and love what it is they're doing? Because nowadays, coming through the college ranks, you have these NIL deals. And I know that we kind of crap on them a little bit, but in the same breath, it takes away from that quote unquote love of the game, right? Like the passion, the desire, the need, it's still there. And we're not throwing it under the bus by any means. And we're not going to say these guys don't work hard. They do. We're not going to say they're not talented. They're extremely talented, right? They're in that 0.0001% of the population that can actually perform a professional sport for their life, their livelihood. But an inherent love of the game, the desire, the drive, the Mamba mentality. Can we go to Kobe, right? Can we talk about like the Jordan mentality, the ones where you get up and you're grinding every single day, you're all in every single day about it, you live it, you breathe it, you eat it. Think Jaden Daniels, think Jalen Hurts, think Patrick Mahomes, like these guys, think Tom Brady, right? It's come to a point now where they're grading these guys out and they're seeing if they fit into their system. It's like, are you going to take that guy who is sort of half in, half out? I'm going to give you a couple hours in the gym today. Maybe I'll show up a little bit later. Am I coachable? Can I be coached up? Is it something that I'm willing to take the criticism and be a better version of myself as a football player? Some guys are going to do it. Some guys aren't going to do it. Some guys are going to just rely on that talent, give what they feel is enough, and at that point, just exist. This is fine. You can have a career. You can do that. You're going to get paid. But if you're trying to build a championship team, you really need to consider this component in the modern athlete. Back in the day when you would have these drafts, it was not only like the privilege to be drafted, but also you were not built up the same way you were in today's day and age, right? Like you never got adulations for things that you did not earn or that you did not merit or stuff that you didn't just go through. I can remember we have this whole culture of like the participation trophy culture, and everybody gets a sticker and everybody gets an award. And now we've seen this manifested in some ways in the younger culture where if they're not affirmed, if they're not patted on the back, if they're not told you're doing good, this is great, you're the best, they feel a little slighted. And in that slightedness, they're like, well, listen, I've got this talent. I have the abilities to do what you need me to do. So when I reach that plateau, I'm going to be okay. Now, this is hard, harsh conversation to a point because, again, you're not questioning the individual so much as when the going gets tough, right? Shout out to Billy Ocean, right? Like when you get to that point where you have to push through, go beyond like that glass ceiling, go through the wall, run through the wall. Like that motivation should be inside of you regardless of the external factors. It's great when you get the rah rah hoo ha ha and it goes beyond what you're naturally blessed with. But in the same breath, you should want to do this every single day. Get up, move in, move out, come up, come down. And it's important because in today's day and age, you are such an integral part of a billion-dollar business. Let's not forget about that, right? You're drafting someone just as you bring people into your life, just as you choose your friends, you draft your friends, you draft your, want to be around you. You're bringing along people that are matching your culture, matching your journey, matching your desire, matching your drive. If you're not doing that, then you find yourself trying to make up the difference in a lot of times, right? You're trying to make up for this particular entity. Well, they have a little deficiency over here. Maybe we can mask it with this. If I get the 85, 90% out of them that I really need, then I can justify the other part that might not necessarily line up. And we talked about this on Tuesday where you bring people around and it's like, okay, I'm going to give you this, but I need you to be a little bit more up here or a little less down here. And these guys, they are coddled a lot of times, rightfully so, because that's the way the society has developed, that we now don't even want to correct some deficiencies or some discipline action in a lot of the younger culture. And it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a hit on them, so to say. It's just a little call to, like a little call to service, a little call to, all right, come back to center. We need to all be on the same page here. We're all going forward. And we're going to celebrate these guys today because you always want to go with the hopes and the dreams and desires and the best interest of everybody coming into a situation like a draft. Like when you made friendship. Like you don't meet a friend and you're like, man, I hope in 6 weeks this guy is horrible and, they never return my phone calls. They never get back to me on a text message. I hope when I call them and I need gas, I hope they're just like, well, one time I got you, but every other time, it's never going to happen. Or it's, hey, remember I did that favor for you back in 5 years ago. Well, you used to owe me for that. Well, hold on a second. Like, this is a relationship. We should be helping each other out. We should be growing. That's why the onus goes then to organizations and all teams where they need to actually sit back and listen and say, all right, what are we getting ourselves into? What do we want to take on? Is this going to be a good fit for us, not only for now, but in the long term? Or can we grow this and mature this to a certain point, and then do we move on from that? So many integral and moving parts. But today, primarily, after we've got the real adult talk out of the way, you talk about and you think about the celebration of these young men. A lot of them not the best environment where they come from, not the best organization, not the best family situation a lot of time. but they have been here and they overcome, and they have made themselves better. They've overcome, right? They've now reached this point where all the hard work, all of those days, all of the uh, all the early morning practices, all the afternoon practices, all those A games, they're ready to be that person. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest joining us today. It's Trevor Harris from the Upper Bowl podcast. He'll be joining us in 2 seconds. He was on earlier with Pete Shepard. Trevor Harris, how are you, sir?
We're doing great. I'll say that it's draft day. It's the funnest day of the year. It's also a great weekend of sports. Also, when you put the draft on,
it's the truth.
There's NBA playoffs on, NHL playoffs on, and Major League Baseball. So this is a nice, fun-filled week of sports. I like to say.
It's a great, fun-filled week of sports. It's almost that little sweet spot where you get the NCAA run up into things. Yeah, it's definitely venture. So now, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Right? You think history. You think Lambeau Field. You obviously think the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
We have lots of fans out there, commenting already. We have a great. Let's get Penguin in real quick. Mm-hmm. He's like, "What up, DD? What up? Ain't that right, chat?" He's saying his "Go Pack, go!" Loves the audience. Give a little Trevor love from Penguin as well. In case you didn't know, we're here on a semi-pseudo mission to the side.
Yeah,
Penguin is a Green Bay Packer owner.
Oh, I know one too also, anyways, which is even funnier.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel compelled to put forth my best effort here and do a lot of reconnaissance, come back with a lot of information.
Yeah.
So when we sit down and we start to work through the X's and O's and go through all the flow charts and everything like that, I can say like, okay, the team's doing well and presented the draft nice, but great experience so far. Obviously, getting busy now. They just opened up the draft experience.
There we go.
To the fans, right? So it's flooding in with people. Wanted to give everybody their privacy, so we're in a remote location away from everyone. You know what I mean? If not, you got to sign out like all these waivers and hunting down people. Waivers, you know what I mean?
That's
I gotta
too
go
much.
ahead and sign this off. Then I gotta pay these people royalties. No one do that, Just have cheese curd to give out, But so what is your impression of what you think is going to happen? I know earlier you were on the Pete Shepard show on the Field Sports Network, and you guys sort of did like your mock draft, a million. What was your takeaway from that little live experiment experience?
It shows that I don't like being a-hole and a jerk. I always feel like us fans and people who know the cover of the team, we kind of know what we have an idea. I mean, there's sometimes us football guys that we like to watch know the right things that some organizations need to do. And some of these organizations don't want to do the right thing. They want to find a way to save their job. And when I was doing this mock draft, I was looking at it, I was like, what were the biggest team needs for the teams I was picking? So I was like, I had the Gigantes of New York. I had the Jets. So pretty spot on brand. What does Trevor know what he needs for those two New York teams? And what Miami needs the most, I was like looking at it, and also the 49ers, and there's like Denver in there and AZ, Minnesota. I was looking at what do each team need that I could see work anyways. Like how would I, if I was a GM, what do we need the most anyways? And I was going by that as by feel also, because I was like looking at like some stuff as like, for example, Denver. Who's their whiteout, really? There's not that much. There's no one stud whiteout except for like Cortland Sutton, who's all right, and then he's up for a contract. And I'm looking at it.
Right, and he's up and down. Like he had so much promise there for a minute, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, big wide receiver. Is he a DT 2.0? God rest his soul.
Yeah,
but he is inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. He's been inconsistent the whole time. He's not had a consistent quarterback to get the ball from. And
shout out to Bo
I was looking at it. I was like, that's how I was viewing stuff. Anyways, like Minnesota. What is we've always known about Minnesota? They figure out they got the quarterback who missed a year because of a knee injury, and it's like, what do we need to surround him with? He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got stud wideouts. He's got a stud tight end. He doesn't have much of a run game since Aaron Jones is gone anyway. So you got to like help out. Like, what does your team need the most? Offensive line, which wins games. Also, if you need a running game, get the running back anyways.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And, if you go up and down social media, you up and down the chats where there's a lot of people, throwing their 2 cents in,
Mm-hmm.
people get caught up, I said it earlier, like in the sensationalism of a player or what the prognosticators are pointing you in direction. Like, oh, you need this, you need this. I'm going
need.
back and forth. I'm going to go back and forth with like Barstool Nola, all the Saints fans, and
Yeah.
in a perfect world, right? They all want Shador. Like they like, give me Shador, give me Shador, give me Shador. But like, does he fit Kellen Moore's system? Is he the guy for the Saints?
Agree.
Right? Do the Saints want all of that extra fanfare? Maybe they do. And then this isn't a knock on Shador's talent. This is just a knock on, like you said, sometimes you got to get out of your own way and say, this is what we need. Like, does talent eventually overcome that? Does it surpass the extra stuff? Yeah, sure it does. But at some point, you just have to be, okay, take off the rose-colored glasses. We need this guy. We need this help.
Like when you look, like New Orleans is a perfect example. You have the 9th pick overall. You need a quarterback because Derek Carr injury is questionable. And do we really believe it's Spencer Rattler? Like, I don't.
No.
There's no hope down there at all. You need to find a reason. Like, I'm not trying to be a hope salesman. That's not my job sometimes, but I have to be sometimes.
Right.
You have to find a way to, like, hey, we have a quarterback that we're in waiting for. And I feel like it's the biggest thing always when you look at some teams. Is like, what do we have wrong here? Like, Cleveland, you're high in the draft. What do you need anyways? Deshaun Watson's probably out for the year. Shouldn't you draft a quarterback? Like, for real?
Right.
Or do you want to go off the rotating door of Kenny Pickett and company,
Right.
No, I don't think anyone wants that.
No. And you have very few opportunities when the draft comes around to actually, like, not necessarily get your guy, but like get the piece that you need. And if it's not there, then like do what Roseman does. Like, don't waste the pick.
Yeah.
Trade it. Get rid of it. Move up. Do something different.
Definitely. Trade the pick. Make a move. Like, find a way to be entertaining, Like, find a way to, like, if you don't see anyone on the board that you like, that's like, if you're reaching or like it doesn't match up with the points or the value on the board, find a way to find a dancing partner who will take that pick and try to, like, move down anyways.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because there's people. What's that?
You have teams on this list. It's like, we know, like, we don't know what Carolina's doing. We don't know what the Raiders are going to do. We don't know what Atlanta will do anyway. So you have, like, a lot of question marks a lot in this draft anyways. And I think I always say the draft starts after the 5th pick usually. It depends on what the roster looks like. And that's how I view it anyways.
Exactly. Hey, well, look, I'm getting shooed away from this little area right now. So I'm going to bounce off for 2 seconds and we will come back on. All right?
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.